Hello everyone, welcome to the fifth and final part of my series that I simply call Disney 101. These series have been really geared toward the first time visitor, the first time Walt Disney World visitor. I've not dealt with Disneyland in these videos because I believe Walt Disney World is probably a little more overwhelming than Disneyland can be just because of its sheer size and the number of parks you can visit. And if you haven't seen parts 1 through 4, I encourage you to go back and look at those, and you'll see that I dealt with the variety of types of resorts that somebody can stay at. And again, the assumption is you're staying on site for these videos and not off site. We looked at the types of packages you can put together, the types of tickets, the length of ticket, the options that you can add to your ticket, and then we also talked a little bit about dining. I've really tried to stay out of the opinion arena because I knew that once I started to get into the opinion arena, there were going to be several people that didn't like what I had to say because, again, Disney there's fans and then what I call the fanatics, and they have their opinions and they treat their opinions as if they're basically the gospel. And if you go against their opinion, then they're going to hurry and shoot you down and basically say you don't have any idea what you're talking about. And I try to point that out, that everybody has an opinion, it seems, once they go to Disney on what you should and should not do. And that's really just based on their own experience. And it really may not be what's best for you. So please, as we come to the end of these series, I hope you understand that. There's always going to be somebody, as there was on my videos before this, that comes out and does the dislike button because they don't like what I have to say. And I guess that's fine too. They could just move on, but they like to show their disgruntlement with things that I say that, again, they don't agree with. So with all that said, I encourage you to go back, and it will, at least if you're a first-time visitor, it will at least help you get oriented into what Walt Disney World is all about, the scope of Walt Disney World, and maybe help you better prepare when you plan your first trip. I want to leave you today. I was going to talk a little bit about Disney dining further, but there's really no way I can do that without really just getting into opinion. We're going on our trip to Walt Disney World here in about 2 weeks, and we have some dining picked out. I'm not going to tell you where we're dining at because, again, those were our choices. Some may quickly retort and say, oh, those were terrible choices. There's so many better choices than what you made. And frankly, I really don't care. So we're doing what we think is best for our trip, and I encourage you again to do the same. But before I leave on this series, there's two things I want to make sure everybody's aware of, especially if you're a first-time visitor. We talked, I think, a little bit in the previous series of just briefly about fast passes. And a fast pass is something that everybody can get in all the parks, regardless if you stay on site or not. And a fast pass is basically Disney speak for sort of a reservation in line, and that's really the best way I can describe it. If you come to their most popular attractions, most of them will have fast pass machines available. And those fast pass machines give you an opportunity that if the line is particularly long when you're going to that attraction at the moment and you don't want to wait maybe an hour, the fast pass wait time may be 20 minutes or less, but you may have to come back to that ride during another part of the day. So you need to kind of figure out if you're going to be in the park later in the afternoon. And those fast pass machines, up above the entrance to the machines themselves, you'll see what the return times are that are currently being offered. And this is what a fast pass ticket will look like. You put in your room key, and I'll show you that in a minute, and then out comes this little slip of paper letting you know when the time you can come back and get in a much shorter line and not have to wait as long. So it's really good, especially for families. But this is what the ticket looks like. You can see it has the time frame that I could come back on this particular ride, and you can tell I did not use this fast pass on our trip. And again, those are just basically, it's like a reservation in line for you during those times, so you don't have to wait in the normal line. And again, those are available on their most popular attractions, and they're available to everybody regardless if you're on site or off site. Now, the other thing I want you to make sure you're at least aware of is how Disney does their keys. Again, assuming you're staying on site. Regardless of the type of ticket, regardless if you have the dining plan or not, you're going to get what they call a key to the world key when you check in at your resort. And that's what that looks like. Your key to the world key is naturally your room key to the resort you're staying. It is also your ticket into the park. If you purchased a dining plan or have a dining plan for free, depending on when you're going during the year, uh, the dining credits is also on that key that I just showed you. And whether it's a 6-day, 5-day ticket with park hopper, whatever options you put, they're all on that key. This key is now also the thing that lets you stay for extra magic hours in the evening or get into the park 1 hour early for extra magic hours in the morning. You will need to show your key to the world key. So I want everybody to understand what the key to the world key is. It's a combination, because I get a lot of questions, and good questions, regarding what about my tickets? Well, will I get tickets when we arrive? And if you have booked a Walt Disney World resort package, your key to the world key is also your tickets, and again, it's also your dining credits if you have any dining plan. And it's also a charge key. And that's critical to understand, because if you go to purchase a gift in one of the gift shops at the resort, or if you go to purchase a gift at one of the parks, you don't have to carry your credit cards with you. You can use your key to the world key, and it'll be charged back to your resort, in which case when you check out, you'll have to final up that bill. So uh, please understand, there's two things I want you to leave with in the final video, and that's the fastpass and the key to the world key. You can understand those two things, you're going to be ahead of the game of the people that get there and really didn't have anybody explain how those things worked, and they'll have a lot of questions once they arrive. And I try to, with these videos, help you eliminate as many questions as I can prior to your trip, so your trip can be the best trip it possibly can be. Again, you may have a different opinion of things I said, that's fine. Everybody has an opinion. But ask any questions. I know you might have some questions after this series is now over. So send questions to me on YouTube or on the link that'll be on my blog or on this video later for my blog. And you can send me a question, and I'll make sure I get to you in a timely fashion to answer those questions. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope if you're planning a Disney trip, I hope you have the time of your life, because it truly is the happiest place on earth. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.